legs dinner, and Marco and I are going down to Gulfstream for the Florida Derby Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go to the original Joe's.
You're going to go to South Beach?
Yeah, we're with Mark Lawrence, and
Now, there's one difference. You can't make reservations at the one in South Beach.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Well,
so, you might want to.
Marco just have to tip the maitre d' enough money to get us in. So,
but the beauty here is that you can make a reservation at our Joe's, and it is tremendously convenient. Adam, have you checked out Joe's yet?
I have not, but I'm coming back out here in May, and Buddy swears by it, so that'll be my first Joe's
experience.
Put
on your bucket list. It's
Kelly on videos
great.
today said, I still owe Dave Joe's.
Yeah, she does.
So she remembers.
If she's ever in Las Vegas for more than 6 hours at a time.
Yeah, she's Ms. Showtime now,
Well, no, she's busy. That's great. I mean, I think it's terrific. But
once you get to that superstar level like Kelly, it's hard to keep her down to a schedule.
I got a Dover Soul dinner waiting for me, and it's on her. 702-792-9222, the phone number. What did you come up with for an angle tonight, Ralph?
We're going to the NBA, and it's a total. Sacramento, 6-23 over-under as a favorite.
It's not a lot of overs.
0-5 as an away favorite. And the Mavericks are 0-5 as a home dog. Put them all together, that's 6-33, all three angles to the under Sacramento and Dallas.
So we'll go through some over and under win props, maybe some ideas from Adam Burke. You can follow him on Twitter at Skating Tripods. And be sure to check out all of Adam's work. It is outstanding if you're looking for the written word. I don't think there's anybody who analyzes games on a daily basis more in depth than Adam. You'll see that really quickly once the season begins. His preseason stuff is spectacular. I mean, I've read it myself. I'm a pretty knowledgeable baseball guy, but I feel like I'm always going to get something new when I check out Adam's stuff. Man, you work hard on that stuff, don't you?
First and foremost, Adam, tell us how to get your free guide. I mean, it's an amazing guide for free.
Yeah, if you head on over to Amazon.com, you can find it's the 2019 MLB betting season preview. You don't have to have a Kindle or a Fire or anything like that to get it. You just have to download the Android Kindle app or the Apple Kindle app. You can check it out that way. But hey, if it's all right, I'll mention that you can find my daily MLB picks and tips piece every day over at bangthebook.com. And to go along with the 30 MLB season win totals, I also put together some stuff with just general team-by-team, game-by-game betting tips, some players to watch, some pitchers to watch for positive or negative regression. So got that up over at the website as well. And hey, I mean, baseball's my passion, Dave. It sounds like it's yours too. And
it's my favorite sport.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't feel like work, to write about baseball and to research everything. And also, you know what? Doing all this work, not only does it help the readers and the listeners, but also it helps to organize my thoughts as well heading into the season. Because, as I'm sure you know, that transition from football and basketball to baseball is a pretty substantial one.
It sure is. So we'll get into some of the over and unders, but I want to start with you guys are both Clevelanders. So let's talk about your favorite team. You've even got the Indians baseball cap that you're sporting today. I will frequently wear a Red Sox jacket into the studio, although when it's 80 degrees, I don't feel the need to do so. But, we can still be fans of our teams, even if we approach them from a neutral standpoint as far as the betting's concerned. I'll give you my quick take on Cleveland, and then I want to get deeper responses from you guys. The pitching staff, obviously, the starting pitching is sensational. The bullpen, if it holds up, should be fine. Infield looks good. Outfield doesn't. I have concerns about this outfield, and I think there's a possibility. I don't think it's the favorite, but I think it's a possibility the Twins could run them down for the AL Central this year. Take it away, guys.
Well, if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have given the Twins much of a chance to knock off the Indians. I mean, they're lying anywhere from minus 350 to minus 400 in that 75 to 80% implied probability range of winning the division. And I do still think that they win this division, but with Francisco Lindor missing spring training, with Jose Ramirez hopefully okay
boy,
now,
that was
it would
scary.
Seem. You're telling me.
Oh. I got to tell you this real quickly because it happened. I'm in an auction draft on Sunday, and it was the American League. And
61 points?
I get Stephen Nover. Okay,
Brian told us.
First, he ended up spending $61 on Jose Ramirez, which is a lot of money. And then the injury thing happens, and Nover's like frantic. so he saved his season, and maybe the Indians saved theirs.
Yeah, I was trying to catch up on a little bit of sleep before coming out here, and woke up from a nap, and all of a sudden I see that, and you can imagine how I was the rest of the day. But the thing is, I mean, look, their starting rotation is elite. I mean, sensational, elite, phenomenal, whatever you want to call it. It is clearly the best in baseball this year, and it's really not particularly close. And the nice thing is that 4 of their 5 starters are actually really good the third time through the order. So that will limit some exposure on that bullpen, which I'm kind of disappointed with the bullpen. I think they went with the lowest upside group that they could. I think that'll change as the season goes along. The outfield is really interesting because while offensively it may not be very good, the Indians have not been good defensively in the outfield for quite some time. And this year's team will be a lot better defensively. So, while the offense may not be as prolific, I think that the Indians are still going to win a lot of low-scoring games. So not only do I expect them to still win the division, but I also think they'll be a very, very good under team as the season goes along.
Give me who you think the starting outfielders are going to be June 1st.
Oh, boy. Oh, wow. I think Oscar Mercado is going to be up by then. Leonis Martin should still be in center field. And then, I have to think that they'll probably still go with Jake Bauers in the outfield. I think that's a guy that they really do like. And while there are shortcomings from a contact quality standpoint, a lot of those guys do have great walk rates in the minor leagues. So if they're able to translate that over to the big leagues, they may be low average guys, but they may still walk enough to do a little bit of damage offensively.
Three outfielders that no one's heard of.
I like Bauers. I thought you could see where there's a pretty high ceiling on this guy last year when he was playing with Tampa, and I think that the experience he gained last year with the Rays is going to help him this year. I think Bauers could be a 260, 270 guy with some pop and some speed.
I like Bauers, and also, too, Tropicana Field is not a good offensive park.
No,
it was 24th in home run park factor last year, and Bauers isn't a guy that's going to post a really high average, but he's going to walk and he's going to hit for some power. And he goes to Progressive Field, which is a very good park for left-handed hitters, especially in the summertime when it warms up a little bit, the ball starts to carry some more. Bauers could be, if you're somebody with a fantasy draft this week, an AL only or a mixed league, something like that, Bauers is not a bad late-round flyer guy at all.
Different team, though, if Lindor and Ramirez both aren't in the lineup.
Oh, well,
completely different team.
They're awful. I mean, the lineup is awful without those two guys. Yeah. I mean, it's just – and that's a concerning thing. We talk about season win total potential. Teams that are that top-heavy, I'll never bet an Angels season win total over because if anything happens to Mike Trout, they're one of the worst teams in baseball. And for the Indians here, while they have the starting staff that gives them a safety net – without Francisco Lindor or Jose Ramirez, and God forbid both of them, I mean, then they're really in a tough spot.
The American League as a whole looks like it could be really boring.
Yes.
You've basically got 8 teams trying to win, and the other 7 in complete rebuild mode. That's not really good for the league. The National League is a way more exciting league.
Yeah, it is. And it's also, too, from a future standpoint, there's very little equity in the American League because the Astros are going to win the West. I still think the Indians are going to win the Central, and certainly the odds suggest that as well. And then whichever team plays better between Boston and New York wins the East, and the other one probably wins the wild card game.
Dave said that several times. The American League is a one bid league.
Yeah.
That's it. You're playing for one bid.
You've got the Twins, Angels, A's.
And the Rays.
And Rays right now battling for one spot. I think the Rays are probably the best team out of that bunch. But they're in the toughest division in terms of facing the Red Sox and Yankees as many times as they do. But, that's not where you want to go into a season if you're looking to really attract fans. It's like the NBA. You already know who's going to be there at the end of the year. The good news is, and we can talk about this at length, the National League is completely wide open. I mean, it's the anti-American League because there are only a couple of teams in the National League that you can look at right now. And, the Marlins, maybe a couple from the West. Diamondbacks could be bad. But almost everybody's got a shot going in.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. I mean, the poor Marlins. Typically as a rule, I won't play any season win total on a really bad team because I'm just simply betting how bad they're going to be.
The first bet I made was under Marlins.
But that's the one because, there's 76 division games. I will be surprised if they win more than 22 of them.
So I think they won 26 last year, and they're worse than they were last year, and the division's better.
Right, exactly. And Washington was a team that, you look at the alternate standings metrics, they should have been much better than an 82 and 80 team. And, of course, they got better with Patrick Corbin. Obviously, the Phillies are much better. And really, the Phillies, they were in first place in late August before they collapsed in September. So it's not like they were a bad team. Their final record doesn't indicate how good they were for most of the season. The Mets, when healthy, are actually a pretty good team. And then the Braves, the Braves are actually a team. I do like their season win total under a little bit just because they didn't really do a whole lot this offseason and the rotation's a little bit weaker. But, yeah, for Miami, again, Jeff just talked about in the previous segment, everyone's betting the Orioles under. Sure, I considered it, but it's very hard for me to take a team, under 58.5 wins. The Marlins under 63.5. I couldn't do it fast enough.
maybe a forgotten team, because then, look, are they going to win the World Series? No. They might not make the playoffs. They're probably in that 500, maybe a little better range. But we both agreed that the Pirates might offer some value because they're looking at 78 range on the total, and they've got, if there's one thing that can keep a team in a game, Adam, it's good pitching, and they've got lots of it.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And you have to understand that, and obviously you understand this, Dave, but to the listeners out there, the number of innings from starting pitchers is going to continue to go down. The lowest before last season was obviously 2017. Before that, the lowest was 1996 in terms of innings for starting pitchers. So if you're not handicapping bullpens, both on a daily basis and also in the season win total market, you're doing a major disservice. I mean, it's completely irresponsible. And Pittsburgh has, you and I agreed when we were talking before the show, a top 3, top 5 bullpen in baseball. So that's going to give them the opportunity to win a lot of games where they have leads and keep them close in games that are, where they're trailing late, or at least give them, probably a better than 50-50 shot if it's a tie game late. And, the Cubs are going to take a step back. The Brewers are going to take a step back with all their bullpen injuries. The Reds are going to be better, but I don't think that they're quite there yet. The Pirates are the team that, as you said, kind of forgotten, kind of an afterthought, had a pretty boring offseason. But, I mean, hey, their season win total is in the 77.5, 78 range. They won 82 games last year, and they're better than they were last year.
Now, that brings me to the Padres. Because I know Brad Hand's not there anymore, but I still look at the late innings there. Craig Stammen's not bad. Kirby Yates developed command of his pitchers last year, and Kirby Yates became a very nasty relief pitcher.
Can I tell you something? We talked about the Indians' bullpen. They had Craig Stammen and Kirby Yates in their system over the last 3 years. Let them both go. This bullpen would be in pretty decent shape if they had kept them.
The thing is that San Diego's got him.
Right.
And if the Padres can get those decent 5- and 6-inning jobs out of Luke Casey and the other starters, and the kid, what's
Chris
his name?
Paddock.
He's an exciting prospect. They could get in the mix. I mean, I'm not going to be shocked. I didn't even bet them over because the total I thought was adjusted to account for their improvement. But I won't be shocked if they're a winning team and do get into the mix to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that was the thing. I also thought that they kind of over-adjusted that season win total at the start with Manny Machado. But then as you dig more into that team, and I always appreciate teams that are willing to be aggressive and go with the most talent in the starting rotation. Too many teams keep guys around, because they're getting paid or they're veterans or they want to protect the young arms. The Padres said the hell with it. I mean, they've got Chris Paddock in the rotation. Eric Lauer was up at a very young age. Joey Lucchesi up at a young age. They're actually going with the most talented guys in the starting rotation, and that changes the projection for me. If it was guys like a Robbie Erlin or a Brian Mitchell or somebody like that in the rotation, I would kind of scoff at them and say, well, they could be good late in the year, but over 162 games, I'm not sure I can trust them. But now, they're going with the highest upside rotation possible to go along with a young, powerful, exciting lineup. And then you add Machado, and also people are talking about the fact they added Ian Kinsler too, who I think still has some tread left on the tires. So the Padres, my outlook has changed on them certainly over the last couple of weeks with the roster decisions they've made.
Dave, to give you some kudos, last year you said the Padres minor league teams are one of the best, and I think you said they had 5 or 6 starting pitchers in their minor leagues.
Yeah, I love their system because they've got all these pitching prospects, and then you add Tatis in, who is a monster prospect from a position play standpoint. Bright times are ahead. I think San Diego, maybe it might not show this year, but they're on their way.
Will they get the fan support? Is Machado enough for them to get the fan support to make it a home field edge?
I mean, they draw pretty well anyway. It's an attractive ballpark. I've never been there, but everybody I've talked to says it's awesome.
Yeah.
And, it's a major market. And you know what? Honestly, too, if you're in a place like San Diego and you've got a nice warm, July or August night, what better to do than go to a baseball
really,
game?
I know it.
Yeah, but especially for the last few years, that hasn't happened.
Well, no, I mean, but because it's going to be 3-2 every night.
When you're 20 games under, when you're 20 games under in June, I guess that's not the right thing.
Well, here's the other thing, and I wonder if this becomes more of a home field advantage for them. They're it in San Diego now.
Chargers
are gone. They're the franchise there now, and that's going to give them more attention and I think more of a chance to build a real solid home field advantage. The flip side of that is the Giants, who for years have been, to me, a sharp organization that especially was terrific at the deadline in making the right moves. I don't know what's